All right, we're getting ready to get back on.
I got things to do.
Vicky, are you back on? Okay, you unmuted, so you must be here. All right, we're back in session. Next case is variance approval request, case 2022-395. Samantha, you want to give a briefing on this, please?
Chairman, members of the commission, the applicant is requesting approval of a variance to encroach 4.1 feet into the required 10-foot left side yard setbacks and 2.4 feet into the required 10-foot right side yard setbacks as designated by the M1 Mobile Home District. And he has already placed a 58.15 foot by 15.6 foot mobile home. And the lot it's located on is 154 Candlewood Drive, Lot 53, Block 15 of the Ponderosa Heights subdivision. One thing that is missing out of my case report, and I do apologize after doing my site visit with our Public Works Director today, I do think that it would be appropriate if he replatted these two lots that he owns. He accesses this lot from 121 Larch Drive. He does not access it off of Candlewood. So that is making, cause some confusion. I would recommend
lot 5 is also owned by the applicant?
The lot just to the right
Yes. Okay.
is owned by the applicant, and that's how the property's
Interesting.
accessed.
Okay.
So I would recommend replatting those into one and him receiving a large, that 121 Larch should be the address for this home due to the existing placement. And if he did replat, then that would do away with the encroachment into that side yard.
So replatting two different subdivisions, is that an issue or a problem, or is that normal? Because it's two different subdivisions, Ponderosa Heights Unit 4 and Glen Grove subdivision. Big problem? Yeah, well, I was asking Sam, so.
The Village of Ruidoso does not enforce restrictive covenants
Correct.
or deeds, but it would clean up the access issue that we have at hand.
Okay, so what you're saying is, so incorporate lot 53 of Ponderosa Heights into the Glen Grove subdivision, which would be the large address.
Correct.
Interesting.
Because of the access
Okay,
and utilities.
so I see, who's the applicant? Come forward and state your name and raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, Brendan Malone.
Brendan, tell us what's going on with this, and I'm sure the commission would like to hear why it was placed on the lot without getting this cleared first.
So my wife and I had bought that land it's probably been over 2 years that we bought the land. And when we were looking for land, we were looking for a manufactured home, a land where we could put a manufactured home. So we found that one, and when we were looking at our realtor let us know that one of them is, you're not allowed to put a manufactured home, but the other one you are, even though it's back to back.
Right.
So we went ahead and decided to purchase land and went through Valley Homes to purchase a manufactured home. From there, I made calls to planning and zoning, asking if I needed any necessary permits or anything. So when I called, I spoke to, I don't know if you guys want me to say the name or not, but I spoke to somebody here, or not here for the county. I spoke to somebody from the county, and they told me about my lot, my Ponderosa Heights lot is in Lincoln County. It's not part of Village of Ruidoso. So at that point, I asked her, okay, so what permits do I need? She said, you don't need any permits, you just need your blocking permit. Once they set up the home, you get approved by the state, and then you go from there, and you're good to go. So we did that. So I put the home in, and after that, my mother stayed there one day and saw a rape tag on the door. So at that, I knew something was up. So I called, it was Mr. Powers. That's who left the red tag. I spoke to him. He told me what the issue was and that they had no permits or anything. So at that moment, I got all the necessary permits, my driveway application, it was an already existing driveway. That land was that way before we purchased it. It was set up that way. That's why my wife was attracted to it, because it was already set up. From there, we got all the driveway permit, what else was it? Driveway permit, the forestry compliance, of course, electrical, water, sewer, all the necessary permits, all the easements, were done through, he was here, I'm not sure if he's still here, but he was here with me. He did all the easements and got all the necessary paperwork that was needed. I submitted all that paperwork. Of course, this is already after the home's already been placed, but I submitted all the paperwork 2 times now, and the first time I submitted it, never received a reply for it. But I took care of everything that was required on my end to do. And I do have emails. I have, back in March when I was making the phone calls to check to see if I could place the home there, I have all the necessary stuff, if you guys would like to see that stuff.
Chairman, members of the commission, I just want to clarify that he spoke with the she was a previous planning director at the County of Lincoln, and she's no longer there. And we were getting a lot of miscommunication from them at that time. So,
Okay, so,
You're saying you got miscommunication from the county?
yes, they were telling their residents, or our residents, incorrect for quite some time.
probably in communication is so funny. Yes, Ruidoso is in the county, and no, you don't need a permit from the county to do this. Communication is just so strange on the words, mean a lot. So I can see how there's some confusion. So utilities are run through Candlewood or through the easement to get to the home?
Through the easement. So the sewer drops down the hill towards the lot.
Large.
Candlewood.
Yes.
Larch is downhill. Okay, okay.
So the water runs from Larch, because when I asked for them to run it from Candlewood, they said the pressure wasn't be good
Got
enough.
it.
So they went through Larch, and that's who dug underneath the road and everything else. It had nothing to do with my sewer.
This picture, where's this taken from? Candlewood or Larch?
That is,
Huh?
that's the bottom of Candlewood. Bottom of my
Looking
property.
up.
That's the bottom of my property. Yes, sir.
And it's on top of a hill, so Larch goes down the hill again, so it's kind of on a ridge? Okay,
So from there, when you're looking at it right there, up this way, Larch is this direction, up to your right.
okay.
Up the hill and
Got
up
it.
to your right.
Wow, interesting.
For clarification on that picture, I followed the GPS to find 154 Candlewood, not aware that there was access from Larch. So that's why you see the pictures depicted from that angle, because from the address point, that should be where the driveway is.
You didn't want to climb the hill? All right, questions, commissioners to the applicant?
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
so you did receive some sort of permit from the county? Have any documentation or?
I have my blocking permit. That's what I was told all I needed was the blocking permit.
So did you give the permit to see?
Yes, I submitted all my paperwork.
The county does not require a placement permit because they don't have zoning or setbacks. We do within the municipality, and all manufactured homes are permitted through the state. So my department doesn't issue manufactured home permits. So that's where the confusion was. He thought he didn't need it, but we're not going to issue any sort of placement permit until he clears up the variance issue.
So did the state do your electric drop? Did they inspect that, or did you pull a permit to have the electric?
I went through P&M and everybody else to get all my.
Okay, so you had a state inspector come down and look at
Yes, sir.
your connection and all that?
And you are the owner of 121 Larch?
I'm owner of both properties.
And
Yes, sir.
Kenwood, of course.
Yes, sir.
So he's acted in good faith, but missed.
Yeah. Commissioners, questions? Hearing none, I'm going to open the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Is there anybody that wishes to speak for or against this case? I have two hands up. Do you mind sitting to the side because this is a quasi-judicial and it can be one at a time, please. So can I get you to raise your hand and swear to tell the truth, nothing but truth?
Yes, you can.
And state your name,
My
please.
name is Bill Hall. I'm the owner of 110 Larch and live at 108 Larch. So my property is just about the corner of 110. We're in the, you've got the submittals I sent to Stephanie, is right behind the trash station. And some of the things I find interesting, yes, the placements for mobile homes, village, been in place since 2020. It's pretty clear. This is the first I've seen of this map, and if you actually look at it, it's in violation of the setbacks for Ponderosa Heights. And that's the first I'm knowing of it. This would notice for this variance that he's asking now, I wasn't notified of any of this going on. I saw all that construction going on, and I figured, maybe it was a temporary easement to put the trailer in there, and that's fine. But as far as there being an easement through Lot 5, that's subject to debate. He says there is and there was. I'm not quite so sure about that. On the master plans, and you look at your own maps, they are two separate subdivisions. There is a significant difference between Glen Grove and Ponderosa Heights. Glen Groves, even though they don't restrict them, we have restrictive covenants on what you can build on that, in that subdivision. So if you want to combine these lots, if this building comes in compliance with Glen Grove's easements and restrictions on the deeds, great, which means that mobile home has to go. You can build something with a foundation, it has to have a minimum 600 square feet. And that's in the covenants that have carried through since the formation of the Glen Grove subdivision. And everybody who's bought property in Glen Grove gets a copy of those restrictive covenants every time land closes. You get that from the closing attorney. It's the exceptions and qualifications, all your deeds. That said, you've seen the pictures, before and after. Like I said, this, again, it gets back to a situation where the roadway, you're connecting two subdivisions with differing requirements for buildings and allowable buildings. I'm not sure you want to set that precedent. You'll also devalue all the homes in Glen Grove because you're now allowing a mobile home to be connected to the Glen Grove subdivision. So that's one of the points I made there. But there's been a bunch of negative activity impacts from the activity of that mobile home going in. And in the presentation, I pictured out all of my points here. The destruction of the drainage on Larch Drive, the killing of one tree at 112 when the water line was impacted in place, the improper patching of Larch Drive. That portion of Larch Drive, if you drive, you come around a blind corner and you're going up the hill, that patch is coming out every time it rains and every time we got people going on that road. The flooding, because that quote-unquote roadway was installed improperly, let alone whether it was legal or not, you basically have created flooding events on 117, 119 Larch, and during the monsoons this year, it even damaged the other side of the road because there was no drainage on the west side of Larch, and it came across and it took out portions of pavement at 110, which is my property.
Sir, to be consistent with our public hearings, limit you to 3 minutes. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
You can read all that. As I said, my actions or what I would request the commission to do is deny the variance as requested. There's a number of issues that need to be resolved with the house as it is on Ponderosa. And my suggestions to the applicant are, submit a surveyed plat showing they can be in compliance. And if not, remove the structure from that property, remove the roadway/driveway, restore the drainage on the west side of Larch Drive, reimburse 112 Larch for the lost tree, reimburse my other neighbor who will speak at 119 Larch for expenses incurred during the improper roadway construction and continual flooding, terminate the water line service on 154 Candlewood, and properly patch Larch Drive from the water line and repair the damage.
We can see all
You can
that.
go through all that, but that's.
And this commission is not I guess, a judge type thing that can award damages or such, so we are,
I understand that, but
So-
you need to understand the negative impacts, and as I said.
understood. Thank you, and thank you for your PowerPoint.
Can I respond to that?
You can respond.
Okay. So I have pictures here of the actual signs of the sale of the home before we bought it, to show that the driveway was there. It was pre-existing, just so you can see, if you'd like to take a look, before we bought the home, before we bought the land. Because he's talking about the road that I'm using as a driveway. It was here, you can see the sign, it's still up, we still haven't bought it. Where is it? Right there, the Century 21. So, and this is the road that runs, that driveway, that runs to the back property, to the 154 South Candlewood.
What's the date on this picture?
Let me get it for you. This one is the 20th, September 26th, 2020.
Okay, well, it shows that the road's there. Whether it's there legally, I don't know that. That's a separate issue.
Yes, sir.
That's a different plating
That's a
issue,
different
correct?
That's a different commission.
And as far as the tree on his property, I know, nobody I know touched that tree. The guy that helped me with my sewer as well as my water, he told me the only tree he took out was on my side of the road, on the odd side of Larch. That's what he told me. He said he didn't touch any other trees, and it was a small tree. So we tried calling Eric Inland, I think his name was, to find out if somebody requested a permit to cut that tree he's speaking of, because I did see the picture and I saw the address on it, and he said, if it's not over 20 inches in diameter, they don't need a permit, so I don't know who requested it or who did it. Also,
Thank you.
the patching on the road, it wasn't done by us. As far as the culverts go, the culverts were already there, and it was done by the village of Rio Doso. The patch you see on the road that you're talking about, it was done by them. What else? I think you have a picture of the side of the road where
Yeah.
it's pretty messy. That's also done by the village of Rio Doso.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for your rebuttal. My question is, on your slideshow, you have a for sale sign out there. Is that,
That's on,
so that's an old picture,
no,
or,
that was there.
so you still have it for sale?
I'm going to sell, because
I got it.
I'm probably gonna leave out of town for work.
Okay, thank you.
It's sold on the other side, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's contingent.
Contingent upon this?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you for your input. Somebody else have comments? Please come down.
I'm Mark McLaurin, my wife and I own 119 Larch.
Very good. Swear to tell the truth, but the truth?
I do.
I can't even say it anymore.
I
Thank you.
guess, I agree with most of what Bill said. I had a couple of questions, because from the drawing, I was a little bit confused. The variance that you're asking for is not adjacent to our property. It's in the back far corner back in here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess, I just do want to add one thing to what Bill said. I don't think it's possible to add his property and Lot 5 into Glen Cove. We don't allow trailers there, it's against the covenants, so I'm not sure how you could legally even do that. You may be able to take Lot 5 and then make it part of Ponderosa, but I don't think you could do it the other way. There's litigation going on right now, actually, from some people on Lot 4 and 3, I believe. They're trying to put mobile homes in there, and that's all going on right now in the background, separate from all of this. But, I just don't see how you can do it that way. Now, I think you had a picture, right, Bill, of the front, but this is looking down the driveway. Right. It's flat, straight in and flat. So on the backside is where your sewer line goes. It can't come this way because it's uphill, right?
It goes, my sewer is tapping into the one down. when
Down
you're standing
on-
my
down on
deck-
Candlewood.
When you're standing on my deck.
Okay, so the only thing that came in from here is water, because
Yes, sir.
power's back there also.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My meter pole is right there, looking off the deck, right to your left. That's where my meter pole is.
Yeah, and see, my wife and I have looked at that several times, and we know that there was no way to get that trailer in there from Candlewood. It would have been impossible without a giant crane. So, how you handle it from this point, I don't know. I don't know how to resolve the issue of Lot 5 being in one subdivision and Candlewood being in the other. I don't think you can combine subdivisions.
Again, that's not before us now. It's about the variance on Candlewood
Right.
is our
Look, I
task
don't
right
wanna-
now.
I don't want to cause any problems with neighbors, all right? So as long as I own the property, if you guys would like me to, I can shut down that driveway and have them go around.
Well, is there access from the other side?
There is, but it's just that it's a really steep drop and then they got.
Well, I just have one last question.
It could be dangerous is what
The property's for sale, the sign out in front says sold.
Yes, sir.
So I guess my question is, why do you care?
Because I'm still your neighbor until I.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. Why do you
Until I
care,
don't
why do you
know.
care about getting the variance? Isn't that gonna be a problem with the people buying it?
I don't think that's right either. If I know the issue, before I sold the home, if I knew of the issue, I should take care of it. It's just like if we were doing business, if I knew there was an issue, I'm not gonna sell you the
Well,
property knowing that
that's,
there's an issue.
that's not my question. I mean, the trailer's in there. Are you saying that it's encroaching on the 10-foot easement on the backside?
That's why I'm requesting
Yes.
the variance.
He does.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I guess. the only thing I
Times
can say
two.
about
There's
that
two.
is-
There's two.
I guess the only thing I can say about that is it's not my problem. What happens in that subdivision is really not anything we can do anything about, so,
Very good.
okay?
Okay, is there anybody else online that wishes to speak for or against this, please? I see a Les. Do you wish to speak? You're just listening in. Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. So, questions? Everybody, yeah, I've got so many. So the survey that, it's dated October of 2021. It's dated last year. So this has been installed since last year, and we just now caught it, so to speak?
Yes, sir. I had submitted all my paperwork, necessary permits, requesting, and I have the emails showing where I did submit it, and I scanned everything in and sent it off.
Prior to October of last year.
Yes, I believe it was, I don't want to get the dates wrong. Let me take a look, if you don't mind.
I think timeline to me is kind of interesting as well.
Gentlemen, excuse me for a second. Les just texted me and said he was trying to get through to ask a question, and for some reason he wasn't able to communicate. He said he raised his hand to try to get it.
The hand was not raised.
So I started sending the paperwork out in November of 2021. Yes, sir.
To the county.
No, to Village. Hold on, that might be inaccurate, because I have multiple emails. No, I'm sorry, March of 2021.
Commissioners, questions?
I'm still confused. You have the Ponderosa Heights, and this is where the mobile home is, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Samantha, was that under county and then we took it over, or how'd this happen?
No, it was incorporated at that time. The planning director, the former planning director must have misspoke and not looked at our map properly.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering.
So, Zach, this is a question about survey, and I don't know if you can. So, the existing driveway that he's drawn through Lot 5 says roadway easement, because it's in a survey and supposedly it's filed somewhere, does that make it a legal driveway and easement through a separate lot? Yeah.
Could be a prescriptive easement.
Can't be platted without it.
That's what I'm saying. But a survey changes the conditions of a lot, I think.
Without pulling the previous plat that it's citing, we don't really know,
Right.
because this
It
is
could
just
be,
a
it could
plot
be.
plan survey.
All right, so, I'm having a very hard time determine a hardship, whether, it's obviously a steep lot, however, being that it was placed before proper permission gives me a little anxiety. And I'm looking to the commission to help with questions and answers to decide what we need to do and how we're going to address this.
When I look at this lot, it is very irregular shaped.
Yeah.
It's a pie shape and, typical lot is rectangular or square and, and this creates a real, squeeze, no matter where you place the thing, to be able to, and the other, the easement we're trying to, address is going towards lot 54 of Ponderosa Heights, right?
I'm not aware of an easement that we're trying to
53.
address.
The easement.
But going towards, right here.
The lot line is here.
Right?
So it's to this lot.
I know, but this is, we're going, this is.
That's the variance. That's the
variance.
setback that's they're encroaching into. Correct.
Not this side.
Yes, that is considered a side setback and a side setback. There's the front. So is that considered the back or the side? The tip of that lot,
We're calling that the side,
side on both of them,
yeah.
right?
Well, and that
That's the
side
triangle.
is going down the boundary between Ponderosa Heights and Glen Grove. That's a, utility easement, right?
Yep.
But that doesn't necessarily, go on to Glen Grove.
Right.
Well, but a utility easement, basically, you can't build in it, but, do you start? It looks like they've started from the, as far as that setback line from the utility easement. You see what I'm saying? Right here.
Yeah. Side of the
I
house?
see. So it's 4 foot on one
Instead
side
of-
and 2 feet on the other side, so,
It doesn't look, see right here, the distance from here to here, it looks like they're going from the utility easement, not the property line. Which would make it less.
this was prior to any
Right.
It's not as
Prior
severe
to?
as it,
You brought a point.
Yeah.
because a utility easement is only, you can't build in the utility easement. It's part of the setback though,
Correct.
the way I always understood it.
And looks like the corner is not in the utility easement.
Right.
And there's a number, I think there, but I can't read it. Mine's all smudged.
Brendan, I have a question. With the pending sale of Candlewood, are you including that lot on Larch?
The Larch, yes, ma'am.
They're going together?
Is the lot on Large buildable?
Yes.
It is, but it's gonna need some work.
It's not very large. It's small.
On Large?
The Larch lot is little.
because that 30-foot driveway easement's taken.
If he replatted, he wouldn't need a variance.
Correct. But the replat comes into the two different subdivisions. Right.
But that's not the village's problem, is what you're telling me. We don't enforce
Covenants.
covenants and or.
That's right.
And we're not allowed to discriminate on manufactured homes. There's federal law prohibiting that as long as they're not older than 1978. We do permit yurts and tiny homes in R1 subdivisions.
Commissioners, what's your thought?
So if we don't give him a variance, then his next step would be to go before and see if he can replat both those together.
That's my understanding,
Yeah.
is if,
That's out of our hands.
that's right.
I see what
But there-
Occur with the county.
right.
But I still disagree with that if he combines these two, that means the back setback is still
He's still over on one side.
still only 2.4
He's
4
5
feet away.
5 point
It's
whatever.
still encroaching into a future back if you want to replat it. So
Yes.
he's still going to have troubles with
Right.
variances.
Be back here again.
But
Correct.
I'm not sure that if we were coming to obtain a variance, because of this, the lot, the steepness and the shape of it, that we wouldn't grant it anyways,
It's possible.
because of the hardship,
That is correct.
you know.
So what do you want to do? I'm,
Grant it.
is that a motion?
Say the hardship and miscommunication based on the county.
But the lot, we can grant variances based on hardships, to my understanding,
Topography, lot.
because of,
Right.
right? And the irregular shape of the lot and the steepness of the situation and all,
Done it before.
Yeah.
based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-97 and 54-66 of the village code, I move to grant the requested variance for case
PV-2022-395 with the conditions stated in the case report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Have you seen the recommendations in the case report?
You talking about these right here?
Yes.
5?
Yes. There's 5 conditions. So,
We have a motion and a second.
motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Baugh,
Aye.
Commissioner Briley,
No.
Commissioner Byers,
Aye.
Commissioner McElina,
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
She dropped off.
No, she's still there.
Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Williams,
Come on, Vicky.
Commissioner Williams,
She's still there.
she just unmuted herself. Commissioner Williams,
Call her.
Okay, so,
I need her vote.
Hi, can you hear me? We can't hear you on the audio. I'm gonna just put you on my phone, okay?
Vicky, have you been able to hear us?
Yeah, Yes, I heard you and I'm off mute. I don't know why it wouldn't come through. It's been working all.
All right, Stephanie's taking a vote, and it's your turn.
Yay. Aye.
Very good.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
5 positive and 1 negative.
So continue on.
Continue on. Oh, okay, so I'm okay?
You're okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, community development report.
Real quick, Tony, if you ask for Bill Howard in front, you should be able to get your placement permits. You can go ahead and move forward with your placement and stuff.
Thanks, Zach.
Real quick, we just wrapped up the insurance services office audit. They were looking at our building permits, inspections, plan checks, ordinances, code enforcement efforts and codes, as well as ongoing training of our staff. And so we did request a lower ISO rating, which affects property insurance throughout the community. So we're waiting to hear back.
Gentlemen, we're still in a meeting. Can you carry it outside, please?
From that audit. Something else we are working on is 1100 Meacham. If you'll remember, you approved the conditional use for the multifamily housing of approximately 55 units of apartments. We're going to be reapplying this January for the 9% tax credit application. So luckily Mesa Apartments is still interested in investing in our community and hopefully moving forward if we're approved on the second round of applications. Another thing, we just issued last Friday the request for proposals for the addressing or readdressing of our community. I'm sure some of you all have heard we had started back in March readdressing. We readdressed US Highway 70 and it went very smooth. And then we moved to Sudderth and it was crash and burn. So we are going out, trying to bring on a professional consultant that has helped businesses through this process. They'll do a study of our community, look at all of the address points that are currently not in compliance with the state statute that regulates E911. And make a recommendation to the governing body on moving forward with this project. It's much needed. We have huge concerns throughout the community that it slows down the response of 911 responders. So we are continuing with that. The proposals are due, I believe, towards the 3rd week of October. So we'll be able to score those and hopefully find a company to contract with to help us with this project. That's all that I can think of right now. Something just came to mind. Can we get an explanation on your no vote for the last case?
I do not feel it meets the hardship conditions of the ordinance.
You get that stuff. Thank you. That's all I have. If you'll have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
My friend on Carrizo Canyon Road, did they take them to court? Was there any decisions that the commission needs to know about?
Yes, Mr. Olivas did appeal the decision made from the Planning Commission. And since the appeal was entered in a timely manner, there's a stay on the case, so he's able to remain operational until the November council meeting, in which he'll be given a fair hearing. And we've already submitted all of the minutes, code enforcement activity, photographs that were presented to you all during the inspections. And so we've given them all of our documentation, and we'll have that hearing the second Tuesday of November.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Questions? Comments?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Village of Ruidoso Police Department sign out front looks like crap.
I'll share that with them. They should be moving along here shortly to the Horton complex, though.
Oh, is that where they're moving and that's what they're,
Yes, they'll have the public safety, kind of a complex over there.
okay.
And so they'll all be moving out of Pioneer Bank even, or whatever that hermit crab shell
Encore.
that they're in used to be.
What's going to go in there?
I've heard some ideas thrown out, but nothing definite.
Owned by the village.
How did you
They
know?
already have a safe.
Owned by the village, we're going to a class.
No.
Vicky, we saw you on screen for just a second.
Plus the,
Hi.
mobile home park completion.
The water lines are completely installed, and so they're moving on to the construction of the roads and the sewer lines, so I don't have a definite time frame.
Absolutely.
Much slower than expected due to the weather, things that are out of our control, but they're moving along. Renegades out
All
there
sorts is
working.
rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the retaining wall at the Allsups looks good.
Looks better than those railroad ties.
Yes, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah.
Commissioner Richardson and I were talking earlier today. There's lots on Paradise Road that have junk cars that have been there for
Decades.
I've been gone 15 years, and they were there 17 years before I left.
Right.
And grass is higher than the roof of the house. And that's one of our main roads. So when does code start coming down on these people?
There is one lot, in particular, I'm not sure if you're talking about the one that has like a bread truck out
Big
front.
brown
Yes.
sugar
Code
big
enforcement's
bag,
been working with them, and
15 years.
they're about to pursue a clean and lien of the property. We just have to bring the resolutions through council first and post in the newspaper, but we are gaining compliance. Was one up on Chiricahua that we have hired a contractor, and they're taking down unsafe decks and cleaning up the litter in the yard and other debris that's out there and bringing it into forestry compliance, and they've made good progress. They had one up on Mockingbird recently that they filed on clean and lien. They went and did the work and placed a lien on the property, and was one Bobby Simpson had been trying to get a hold of for more than 5 years, and they had an address in Mexico, and we weren't able to send return receipt letters to them, and they were not responsive at all, even to notices posted on the property. But after the lien was filed, magically they got up here and paid it, and it was around $11,000. So they're making some progress now, so luckily. The sign ordinance is in effect. We're enforcing that now. So,
Tall grass on Sutter.
DOT.
Not to complain about signs, but the new Pioneer Bank sign at night.
Wow.
I mean, it's like blinding when it goes to a basically white screen.
Yeah.
Truly is. I mean, and here again, I'm not one to really complain about that kind of thing, but it shocked me how, you know, if a deer were to run out at that moment, it would be,
I have seen that illuminated sign ordinances does have a hours of operation, or they automatically dim to a certain lumens after 10 o'clock or something. Yeah.
I'll pass that along to code enforcement. They do have a tool that measures the lumens, and they'll be able to work with them to get them reduced.
What about the Apache Motel?
I got one other comment, and this is only because of the,
They're in court, right? They're tied up with the court.
with the,
That intersection.
with the repaving of Meacham, I constantly am seeing people use that middle lane as a passing lane and a merge lane, and I just,
Without the striping there, it's, especially for out of towners.
yeah, right, they don't, but,
Any locals are doing it too.
What I'm hearing is they want to revamp of the sign code,
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, you two. I'm glad you're here. Mm-hmm. Hope you had a great summer.
Did you miss us?
I did. Did. That's all? Adjourn.